Hello and welcome to my review of New Zealand versus Ireland. A nervy start from New Zealand, a couple of loose kicks, but eventually Ireland conceded a couple of penalties, and that just allows New Zealand to settle into the match. New Zealand get a few good phases together, and it gets to about like 10-15 phases, and it's nothing spectacular, but the ball retention is very good, so they test the Irish defence early on. The phase play continues from New Zealand, and at one point they get up to about 35 phases, and really good play from New Zealand and good defence from Ireland, and they're really testing the resoluteness of the defence at this point. Some good physical collisions, and New Zealand look up for it. Physically they are competing with Ireland, so that's going to serve them well throughout the match. Eventually, Ireland concede a penalty, and it's kicked and an early lead for New Zealand, which is going to be important. Throughout this match, they kept on the scoreboard pressure, and that proved to be a very important factor in the game. So at 3-0 up to New Zealanders, Ireland finally get a little bit of ball, and they do look dangerous when they're going forward. They opt to kick for the corner from a penalty, and it's bad execution at the line out, and it cost them a few times in this match, New Zealand defend well and managed to clear their lines. So it's a fast-paced and exciting match for the first 10 minutes, and you can tell this is going to be a hell of a game. So a matchup I picked out before the game in my preview was Savea versus Doris, and I gotta say, like, Savea had a great start to the match. Gets a couple of turnovers, and Doris was like not at his best, I would say, but Savea really like showed the player and the leader that he is, and he had a great game. He gets a couple of turnovers and eventually forces the penalty, which puts New Zealand 6-0 in the lead. Ireland do go on the attack, but I don't know, Gibson Park, he's a little bit slow getting the ball out, and he seems to be holding it up a ruck time. So Ireland thrive on fast ruck speeds, and they're not getting there at the moment. And also the back row of New Zealand is playing fantastically. They force another couple of turnovers, and these turnovers now are really hurting Ireland. There's a bit of kick tennis, and Bowden Barrett at the back, who's playing fullback and had a great game. He picks up the ball from a James Lowe kick, sees a little space in behind, very great presence of mind, chips it over, regathers his own chip, and then the ball is spun out left, and Lester Fainganuku eventually gets the ball on the inside pass and powers over for the try. No one can stop him from there. And New Zealand have the first try of the match. But 13-0 to New Zealand. Ireland finally get a bit of a break, and Frizzell gives it a little bit of a soft penalty, and they decide to kick it Ireland, and they get 3 points on the board, and that's their first score of the match. So New Zealand have quite a significant lead at this early stage in the match. So I'm just thinking, how are Ireland going to respond to this unusual position, which is playing from behind? They had a great team in front, but how can they manage the game when they're playing from behind and have to make up the score? So, like, already I'm excited after 15 minutes to see, like, this is a position Ireland haven't been in yet. So, let's see what happens. Not particularly great play from Ireland, but the ball eventually falls to Aki in midfield, who's having a stormer this World Cup, and he steps like two players, and then his acceleration and power off the mark is quite staggering, actually, and he powers over for a try, and absolutely unstoppable from that distance. And it seems like Ireland are really going to work for this win here, and Aki, a great try, converted, of course, and now it's 13-10. New Zealand attempt to regain the momentum, and Bowden Barrett has really been instrumental in that. His kicking and his decision making has been superb so far, and they attack the Irish line. There's a key turnover from Doris, so yes, there's good moments in the match, but New Zealand is still on the attack. New Zealand are playing very direct at this point, and that's really what they need to do, and what's been missing from a few of their performances. But it works really well for them. They suck in the defence, and then it goes out wide, and the birthday boy, Adi Surveyor, Superman, and he does a Superman dive to get over in the corner. Beautiful pass from Rico Ioane, by the way. And so now New Zealand have 2 tries on the board. So it's looking good for them. So at 18-10, Ireland really needs something to happen, and they catch a bit of a break, to be honest with you. Aaron Smith leaves the arm flailing, knocks down a pass. No arguments really, but the referee sees it and gives him a yellow card. So now New Zealand are down to 14 men. So with a man up, Ireland are really going to try and turn the screw on this New Zealand side. They kick to the corner a couple of times actually, but the New Zealand defence is resolute, and this was a story of the match too, and perhaps the biggest story, the way New Zealand dealt with having a player down. They covered each other, they switched positions, and it was really valiant on their part. Ultimately though, Ireland do get a try. They power over from close range, and New Zealand done everything they could to keep them out, but it's just before the halftime whistle as well, which is going to give them the old psychological advantage, and it's 18-17 going into halftime. So basically, like second half starts, it's a new game. So at halftime, you got to say New Zealand will be pleased. They're going into the halftime, albeit with a slender lead, but a lead nevertheless. They've been very physical up front, which I think is something which was key for them competing in this match. And they took their chances when they came. Their conversion rate was excellent. Also, defence, particularly with a man down, was superb. People covering for each other was really great. And they're ready to go, I think, in the second half. Ireland, on the other hand, again, they look great going forward. They're a constant threat when they have the ball in hand. Their execution wasn't as clinical as the New Zealanders, and particularly execution at the line-out, that really cost them a game. So this has been a reoccurring thing for them, and it's they're still in it big time. But they're going to have to clean up the game a little bit. So the second half starts, and you have to remember that New Zealand is still at 14 men. And I have to personally question the Irish tactics at this point. They kicked the ball away, I think, like I counted 4 times, while New Zealand were down to 14 men. And that's kind of anathema to the standard procedure. When a team has less players, you keep the ball in hand, you make them work double time to cover those positions. But they kicked the ball. Admittedly, one was 50-22, but a little bit of a misstep, I think, by Ireland there. They didn't take full advantage of that, and maybe will cost them later on in the match. I will say, however, during this period where New Zealand were a man down, their back row worked absolutely amazingly to cover the gaps, and I think Frizzell had a fantastic game, as did Kane, and of course Superman Adi Surveyor. But they back row were everywhere, making tackles, making turnovers, just they were really impressive in that little 10-minute period where they needed to be, and they really stepped up. So that was very impressive. Great phase play from Ireland. They're trying to get back in the match, and they look like they're on for a score, but again, Surveyor, he comes up with these big plays, a great turnover, and the ball goes out, and Moanga just cuts through the Irish defence, and New Zealand go coast to coast, and unbelievable. Another try, Will Jordan absolutely steaming over in the corner. And this is what this New Zealand can do. They have the players, they have the pace, they have the power. And Moanga, I think, was due a big game, and I think he had it today. Like, he proved why he's the first choice 10. Great performance. So it's 25-17, and there's 25 minutes to go, but I think Ireland will be a little bit worried. They need to make something happen. You know what I mean? New Zealand have taken their chances when they've arrived, but Ireland have had a lot of the play, but they need now a spark. They need something to get them going to like get back into this game. They get a penalty, and sensibly, I think they tried to take the points, but unbelievably, Sexton misses it. So little small moments like this, Sexton missing a relatively simple penalty kick. These little things now, they got to be building on the mind of me, certainly as a fan watching the game. But how about the players on the pitch? Like, your captain has missed a straightforward penalty, and you're thinking, oh, okay, should we be sounding the alarm bells now? So the game is definitely in New Zealand's favour. Ireland are attacking, but you got to say, from New Zealand, great counter-rucking. I was really impressed with that, and they're really putting the ball under pressure at ruck time and trying as best as they can to slow down that ruck speed. Gibson Park does come off with about 20 minutes to go, and Conor Murray comes on, so I'm wondering, can he make a difference? Ireland go on the attack, but it's great defence from New Zealand. I will say that Sexton looks out on his feet at this point with 20 minutes to go. He looks like he's picked up an injury or something. He's just hobbling back to his position at first receiver and just popping off the passes, but there's no way you're going to take him off in what could possibly be his last match for Ireland. Oof, and this is a real tournament rugby here. And Ireland stay on the attack, fair play, get a good attacking line out, maul rolling, and get over for a try. But like, you think, oh no, because Barnes, he gives a penalty try. I think it was a try anyway, so I don't know why he had to give a penalty try, but he gives a yellow card against Cody Taylor for pulling down the maul, and awards a penalty try, even though it was a try. So I think a little bit harsh, but again, New Zealand down to 14 men, and the score is 24-25 with 1 point in it. Oof, let's go. So New Zealand under the pump a little bit with a man down again, but you got to say the game management and the way the players switched and swapped to cover the positions was fantastic. They actually get a couple of opportunities to kick for goal. The first one Barrett misses, but he gets another bite to the cherry and kicks it over. And now it's 28-24. So New Zealand really managed this one-man deficit really, really well. So a big attacking line out for Ireland. And again, they drive them all. It looks like they're over, but a huge play from Jody Barrett, who I thought was magnificent all day. He did a bit of everything, to be honest. He's a big lump. He's got the hands, got the skills, and he's a great kicker too. And he holds up the ball over the line. And is that the game there? Is that where the game was won? Just fantastic performance from him. So there's 5 minutes to go, and the tension is unbelievable. Ireland stream forward. They realise it's now or never. And much like New Zealand in the first half, they put together a ton of phases. I think it was 30 plus. But New Zealand's defence, fair play to them. They worked so hard for each other, and it was really admirable, I think. And they managed to hold out the Irish, and that's it, the final whistle. So as the final whistle blows, everyone is absolutely out on their feet. All of the players have given everything, I think, in this match. And New Zealand have come out on top. And yeah, I gotta say, thoroughly deserved. the way they managed that those periods when they had one man down was exceptional. I think they really worked for each other. A lot of players stepped up for them, particularly in the back row. I thought their back row was magnificent. Frizzell, Kane and Savea. And Ireland's back row tried their best, but they were outplayed today. So New Zealand thoroughly deserved win, and unfortunately for Ireland, the kind of the jinx continues, and onwards and upwards for New Zealand now. I think they have Argentina in the semi-final, so yeah, let's see what happens there. But it was an enjoyable game, very, very exciting, and well played to both teams. So if you've made it this far, thank you for watching my review, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.